And now we welcome in the Northeast area scout from the Dallas Cowboys. We'll throw on these headphones here. This is Bo. Tell me how to say your last name.
It's Taliaferro.
Taliaferro. Okay,
Yeah,
so I thought that's
weird
a
one.
common misconception among the spelling, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so how many times have you heard that one butchered?
You know what? I don't even fight it anymore. I just say it how it looks. So there's no like weird stares, right?
Oh yeah, I feel you. I'm right there with you. I've got a silent U in my name. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm right there with you.
You get it.
So, Bo, first off, congrats on a great first 3 picks. I mean, we've talked extensively about sticking to your board and picking the best players available. It feels like those best players have been available for you guys these last 3 days.
Yeah, 100%. Like zero reaching at all. We didn't go in with this thing with a narrow mind. It was very open-minded. Stack it the way it's supposed to be stacked. When your time is up to pick, you just pick the best player available. That's what we've been able to do. So it's been awesome to see. We actually had really good players fall to us. So when it falls like that, it's a good feeling. So.
And a couple of those guys were under your tutelage as well. I mean, what has been your process like looking at guys like Booker and Ravel and Ezraku as they work their way through the ranks?
So I didn't actually.
Ezraku, right?
Yeah, I didn't do Booker. I got to meet him on his visit here. He's a great kid, super fired up when you see the guy just like rocked up lineman like that. To have like as little as body fat as he does, be as imposing as he does. Like, oh my God, like this guy's gonna be unbelievable.
What about Ezraku? What stood out to him?
Yeah, so I do cover Boston College. I think the first thing that stands out when you go in August is when they talk about the person, who he is, like just the character, just a tone setter, an alpha guy, like tough, physical, loves ball, works to get better every day. They had a new staff there, so it was interesting to see like previous staff versus new staff, and like both staffs were just like completely in unison. Like this guy is unbelievable. So you're fired up just to watch the tape, and you got to wait till the tape finally comes in. Then when it comes in, you're like, oh my gosh, like look at this guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
When it comes, you mentioned new staffs. There's a new staff here with the Cowboys. Now, obviously, Shoddy you had familiarity with.
Correct.
But what goes into the turnover there, and now you've got to marry maybe some new philosophies, some new players that maybe coaches want versus the old regime?
Yeah, it's a big part of it. We actually met at the Combine. We did the across-the-hall meetings, and they kind of laid out a blueprint for exactly what they're looking for. Every single position had, 5 or 6 main things. Like, we got to have these things for this specific position. So it was very clear what they were looking for. It helps us as scouts when we're going into school. There's no gray area whatsoever. I know exactly when I see a guy, like, they're going to love this guy.
The part of the homework that I think is fascinating when it comes to you guys' job is looking through the person, right? And especially with what Schottenheimer's trying to instill here. Now, Tyler Booker, not one of your guys, but he's from the Northeast, went to Bergen Catholic, which I'm sure is a school you've gotten pretty familiar with. I know you said you didn't do any work on Booker, but is there sometimes a guy comes out of your area, but there's familiarity within your area that you pitch in on? How does that work, if any?
So, born and raised in Arkansas, I'm not too familiar with like the high schools in there.
Gotcha.
I've heard of Bergen Catholic. Obviously, it's a very famous high school, so I'm not too familiar with in that respect.
I gotcha. And then it's Araku's case. Yesterday, just sticking to the board and taking the best player available. Whenever it got to the end of the process and you're going through the final grades with coaching staff, front office, how did you guys fall on a guy as Araku being so high?
Well, number one, it's a prime position, right? Pass rusher. You can never have enough of them, right? So, like, when you get this guy that, he's productive. You see the number of sacks that he had. He's a great character guy. And then you look at, like, the physical traits, the bend, like just the loose hips, the ability to finish an edge and get to the quarterback. And then you look at 34+ inch arms, like this guy just like keeps layering, like what we're looking for. So then when he was on the clock, it was like, this is a no-brainer, right? And he was the highest graded player on our board when we took him. So
yeah, Bo, when you're talking about I'm curious always about the process of getting to and leading up to the actual draft itself. The amount of work that went into, like, maybe our guy's not going to be there. Did you guys work through all those scenarios, say because Jerry and Steve were talking about, hey, our board's not done. I just kind of had a feeling that maybe you guys were working through some scenarios of, hey, what if this happens? Talk about that a little bit of when maybe a guy that we think, hey, that guy might be there, but he's not, but we have to pivot here.
Yeah.
Yes, our draft leadership does more of that. So that's more so ownership and Will and Chris and Mitch and Ross and Klein, those guys.
Sure.
They basically kind of bring us in with just like an opinion on something. Like if they need any clarification on something.
Sure.
So that you just heard the 10 seconds in the ear. We're going to go back on the radio. I'm going to reintroduce you, and then we're going to continue the interview.
Cool.
We're making your life difficult right now is what we're doing.
It's easy.
Right around 20 minutes away from the start of day 3, round 4 of the NFL draft, the 2025 NFL draft on 105.3 The Fan and DallasCowboys.com. Currently talking with Northeast area scout Bo Taliaferro, and we've heard already about the combination between Donovan Ezrawaku and really what he stood out. Where do you see, let's ask your opinion on this one. Where do you see him fitting in with this edge rusher class immediately? Do you feel like he has an opportunity to make an impact on that defensive front?
I think our coaches will figure all that out in terms of who's going to play, when they're going to play. But this guy they'll find a role for him. I mean, you can't, like I said, you can't find enough pass rushers, and this guy's going to legitimately threaten quarterbacks consistently. So I'm excited to see where that fit is, and we'll kind of figure that out as training camp and mini camps go on.
Well, potentially awful question, but have you noticed a difference at all in scouting in this NIL era, like with the players? I mean, obviously we got the transfer portal. Has that made it any more challenging? Are the players any different to deal with now with the money that they're getting?
It is challenging. The biggest thing is when you write a guy, you evaluate a guy, you do all this work, and then come December, like, oh, he's going to transfer out of school. So it's like you don't lose that work. Like, we take all that information, right, and then whatever area he goes to, we'll take that and build upon his character. But it is kind of frustrating, especially like if you really like a guy, you're like, man, I think this guy's be a really good fit, and all of a sudden he takes some money to go to another school. So. It's really just like communication and communicating like, hey, this guy's probably not for us, just a heads up, like he's coming to your area. And then same with them, like guys in other areas are calling me like, hey, just a heads up, this guy's transferring to your school. Here's some things you need to know about him. So that way, when we go in August, we kind of have a little bit of a blueprint.
But when we talked about, this seemed like a year where a lot of missing information on players' workouts. Zach, we were talking about this earlier. You go to a pro day, you show up, you're doing your job, you're responsible for getting 10s or the 3-cone, whatever your responsibility is that day. Is it frustrating for you for traveling long distances and not getting complete workouts on some of these kids? Yeah. I mean, I know you're not blaming the kids, but for a guy that's getting in a car and maybe driving all night to get to a pro day the next day, and you show up and it's not happening the way that you would like it to. Is that part of it been very kind of frustrating, or is it something now that you have to just deal with?
I still get frustrated with it.
I don't blame you.
There's two philosophies.
I would too.
There's a lot of scouts now that are going, well, that's just the way it is now, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of still stuck in my old habits. Like, I want to see it, right?
Yeah.
I want to feel this guy. I want to see exactly what he can do. I want to be able to quantify what I see on tape with what he does at a pro day.
Right.
So I do get a little frustrated and disappointed when you see a guy like maybe turn something down.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not his fault.
No, it's not.
It's representative, right?
Sure.
So like you don't want to always blame the kid.
Yeah.
But at some point you got to sit, look at the kid and say like, hey, don't you want to do this? You know? So it's,
Do you feel like those scouts sometimes you try and push the kid, and guys are nice about it? I'm not saying you just try and bully the kid and beat him up like some of the old scouts in my day would, but maybe you're trying to, but then when they don't do it, you're just like, okay, that's fine, you can do it, but and you have to report back to your bosses. That's got to be tough because they're not blaming you, but they're kind of wondering what the hell's going on out there, right?
Right, and you take it for what it's worth. Like if he says no, that's it, right?
Okay, you just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, there's you've seen some instances where some scouts maybe like try to encourage a guy, and that's
the old scouts try and bully him a little bit. Yeah.
Encourage,
trust me,
encourage.
Okay, I'll say bullying because I come from the area of bullying. A little bit. Yeah.
It can be a little frustrating, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, like if that happens, you just got to go back to the tape.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
For instance, like if I see a tape and like this guy's not very fast, right?
Yeah,
and then he doesn't run a 40,
right?
There's a correlation there, right?
Well,
so at some point you just have to go, well, whatever. I don't need him to run. I know he can't run.
I just gave you $1,000.
Yes.
I gave you $1,000 and told you to go buy a stock, but I'm not going to let you know anything about the company. Makes your job a lot difficult, doesn't it? Though.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to. You don't want to make a $5 million mistake in that room or a $10 million mistake.
100%. But again, like just go back to the film. Trust the film.
Yeah.
Bo, how involved, from your perspective, has Brian Schottenheimer been in picking your guys' brain in terms of some of these prospects? And when you guys are on the clock, how have you seen him kind of step to the forefront and either stand on the table for a guy or just kind of navigate the room in his first time as a head coach?
It's been like unbelievable, incredible. Like the amount, the respect that he has shown us to hear our voice and to not only hear it, but like actually take it in and use it as part of this process. It's been unbelievable. I've been on a lot of different coaching staffs.
Yeah.
And I've been super fired up with the way that we've been with these new guys. Just like I said, like the open dialogue, the communication, couple conflicts that like, I see it this way, I see it this way. Well, and then, the head coach, well, why do you see it like this? Well, why do you see it like this? Let's all come together. Let's put all our opinions in one thing here, and let's all be cohesive with. So when we do come to pick them, there's 100% conviction. So, and like that's not a knock on other places.
No,
I've been,
no.
But I just think we've taken it to another level here.
Do you feel like they're more comfortable with welcoming in that conflict and having those kinds of discussions so that you can make that confident step towards a player?
I actually think he embraces that and wants it. Like he wants. You don't want someone to hold something in. You want it all out on the table, right? When you're making, like you said, a very expensive decision.
Very expensive.
You
right.
want all the facts out. So
Yeah.
like, let's not hold this in, guys. Let's talk about it. And if somebody disagrees with it, let's talk about why you disagree about it. But at the end of the day, it's going to be our guy. It's going to be our pick, and we all got to agree on it.
Northeast area scout Bo Taliaferro joining us here. Bo, congratulations on a great first 2 days. Good luck on the day of the scouts here in day 3. Lots of work left to do.
Are you going to ask me about Siobhan Revel?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it. What do you think about
Can we
Siobhan
talk
Rebel?
about Revel, please, Bo?
Yeah.
Real quickly.
Yeah, fast, athletic, a ball player. This guy's a stick of dynamite. I am super fired up to get him. And you talk about another guy that's a competitor, loves football, all those things. So we're really fortunate to have him.
Yeah,
The
you seem
risk-
excited about it.
The risk
Yeah.
factor, not only with the injury, but 1 year of starting experience in FBS. How did you guys feel comfortable being able to move forward with that?
Well, when you see a corner that moves like this and can run like this and impact the ball the way he does, you don't question those things. Like,
Yeah.
This guy's a rare
I
talent.
like what Bo's saying.
Hey, go
right
bleep
now.
yourself, Nick.
I love what he's saying.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm
Oh, you're not
I think,
No, hey.
like I said, he's a talented player.
My man made it
He's
to
a talented
Greenville.
player.
He knows what he's
Yeah,
talking
absolutely.
about down there.
I believe him. I believe him 100%. They're trying to pay me as a hater. I'm not a hater.
He had him very high on his board too.
There you go.
Yeah, he did. Bo, thanks so much. We
Yeah,
appreciate
appreciate
you
you guys.
taking some
Thank you.
time. Good
Thanks,
luck
Bo.
today.
Safe travels,
Take
Bo.
care.
All right.
Thanks a lot, guys.